Ukrainian forces are counterattacking near Dobropillia, where Russian troops are partially encircled but lack the resources to fully clear them out. General Ihor Romanenko, former deputy chief of Ukraine's general staff and founder of the charity fund Safe Skies Over Ukraine, shared the information on Espreso TV. Around Dobropillia, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are conducting counterattacks. About a month ago, when a Russian troops raid pushed 15 to 17 kilometers inland, the Ukrainian command redeployed additional reserves that carried out stabilization operations. In other words, that penetration was split into 3 parts, and now in the north it looks like an encirclement, while in 2 places it's a partial encirclement. To complete these actions, you need forces to dismantle and destroy what's inside, Romanenko told Espreso TV. He noted that counterattacks have partially liberated territory, but that resources remain insufficient. The occupiers are trying to use drones to deliver supplies and reinforce the encircled and partially encircled areas to try to escape this difficult situation. For a successful conclusion, we need additional resources and reserves, above all personnel, which we lack, he said. Several Russian military units were encircled near Dobropillia in Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast during the ongoing counter-offensive, Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky said recently. Over the past month, Ukrainian forces have been pushing back Russian troops who had advanced 15 to 20 kilometers towards the strategic Dobropillia-Kramatorsk highway near the contested city of Pokrovsk. Since late August, Ukrainian units have recaptured several villages in the region. Ukrainian forces have liberated 175 square kilometers during their ongoing counter-offensive, while another 195 square kilometers have been cleared of sabotage groups. According to Syrsky, Ukraine liberated settlements Zarychne, Novokonomichne, and Udachne in early September. However, Russia maintained a high tempo of offensive operations across the front line throughout the summer. According to the Ukrainian mapping and monitoring group Deep State, Russian forces captured 1,548 square kilometers during this period, more than double the 659 square kilometers seized in the same time frame in 2024. In the near future, the Russian army will continue to focus its efforts on 2 directions, Pokrovsk and Dobropillia, according to Major General Andriy Natov, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in an interview with Ukrinform. According to him, the situation in the areas of hostilities remains difficult. The enemy continues to actively assault the positions of our forces in the main directions, creating a 5- to 6-fold superiority in workforce and equipment. The enemy is conducting offensive actions along the entire line of contact in 13 main operational directions with an average intensity of 160 to 190 assaults per day, Natov said. He noted that the most tense situation remains in eastern Ukraine. There, the enemy has a significant advantage in terms of workforce and equipment, and with the support of aviation, artillery, and the extensive use of strike UAVs, is conducting high-intensity offensive operations. The enemy is trying to establish complete control over the settlements of Chasiv Yar and Toretsk, create conditions to block Kostiantynivka from the east, south and west, and encircle the Pokrovsk-Milnorad agglomeration. It should be noted that at present, the enemy is trying to widely use the tactic of infiltrating small groups into the rear areas of our forces, with their subsequent build-up and the development of the offensive in our rear, he emphasized.
Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen welcomed European Union leaders to Christiansborg Palace in Copenhagen on Wednesday. According to Associated Press, European Union leaders are weighing a scheme to provide long-term financial and military support to Ukraine using hundreds of billions of dollars in frozen Russian assets. It's a fresh sign of the EU's determination to back Ukraine, even without US help. The biggest pot of ready funds is Russia's frozen assets, most of which are held in Belgium, and amount to around $228 billion worth as of June. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says a reparation loan plan was under consideration Wednesday. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that the EU intentions amount to plans to illegally confiscate Russian property. Activists of the global Sumud flotilla adopted high-alert protocols overnight as unidentified military vessels approached the Gaza-bound civil society humanitarian fleet. According to Associated Press on Wednesday, the global Sumud flotilla said 2 of its vessels were harassed by an Israeli warship overnight, though it stopped short of intercepting them. Spokesperson Simone Zambrin, who is on board the AMLA, said the warship jammed the communication on board, such as internet and the cameras as well, and some of the control systems of the ships. This made us adopt all our emergency protocols, interception protocols, and raised the alarm across the entire ship, across the entire flotilla, which had to stop. Organizers say about 50 small vessels with around 500 activists from dozens of countries are taking part in the flotilla, which is carrying a symbolic amount of humanitarian aid, mainly food and medicine for Palestinians in Gaza. The 23-month war has led to a humanitarian catastrophe in the territory that has seen much of it reduced to rubble. The world's leading authority on the food crisis has declared famine in Gaza's largest city. Activists hope their actions will focus attention on the plight of Palestinians. They say the flotilla is the largest attempt to date to break Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip, which has now lasted 18 years, long predating the current war. Israel has said it has no problem with Italy and Spain sending rescue ships to accompany the flotilla, but criticized the aid initiative and accused members of being linked to Hamas, an accusation the activists strongly reject. Israeli authorities warned the boats would not be allowed to reach Gaza. The core vessels set sail from Barcelona, Spain, on September 1, heading east across the sea, and have been joined by boats from other countries along the way. The flotilla includes a few motherships that provide support and provisions for the smaller sailboats.
Tur atıyor artık. Yani artık müdahale edecek geminin önünü kesiyor şu an. Askeri bot.